Welcome to Damage Boost. Now, there's something different happening with this episode, and will be happening in the future. And I'm going to address that, and then we'll get on to the subjects. Damage Boost will now not just be video games all the time. We're going to cover some other subjects, not a whole lot outside of it, but it will be different. Today, we are going to be covering Bears football, and I will do at least one recording a week, probably reaction to each game and how people react to those games. For these segments, I'll probably call it something. I like the name Chicago Bears Necessities, but I don't know if that's going to get me sued or whatever. But so Damage Boost will operate in a lot of ways a seasonal format. A lot of what will happen between the month of September and probably January, because I doubt they're going to the playoffs, will be Bears related content, video game stuff when I can sneak it in. Obviously, Pokemon ZA coming out in October, Battlefield 6. I'd like to talk about Silk Song at some point, all those things. But for now, this is Chicago Bear Necessities, brought to you by Damage Boost and After the Hype. And the first thing we need to address is this guy isn't falling. I don't know if it's because I didn't grow up with social media. I'm old enough to where Facebook became a thing my freshman year in college. That there's ever been a quarterback who, before he even played a snap in the NFL, was the subject of so much hate and scrutiny over analysis than Caleb Williams. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought he was overhyped in college. I saw a lot of things that were good, but he'd lose 3-4 games in college, and being in the term generational talent gets thrown out way too much. That probably wasn't fair to have that put on him. He obviously is very very good, or was very very good in college. But generational, they have it for at least one person every year. It's crazy. So that sets up there. Then the rumors about him thinking he was so good that he might want a stake in the team. There's a lot of things that happened that were never said by him, and a lot of times people try to claim his dad did, and a lot of it wasn't said by his dad. But that all being said, he is broken down way more, and it's by people, and it's clicks. It's for engagement. David Haw, who took over a couple, it might be 4 or 5 years now, the morning slot on 670 The Score in Chicago from somebody who's way better than him. David Haw is, I played at Ball State, so I know things about football. He is a guy who acts old school, but is just as much of a hot take person as like a Colin Cowherd or Jim Rome. He's been one of those people who hinted at maybe Tyson Bagent is going to be an option sooner than later. Got whatever that idiot's name is who wrote the book, who used terms like sashayed away for Caleb Williams. Clearly just writing for angry ex-coaches. I don't think people understand how bad last year was. In terms of, the Bears have been around for 100 years, and they've been bad for that time. And he might have been, Matt Eberflus might have been the worst coach in team history, and I think that's saying something. So all that is context for this guy isn't falling for him. This was game one. This is a rookie head coach. I would argue essentially a rookie quarterback with, when it comes to just being a pro, because last year there was nothing. I don't know if that even makes it harder than being a rookie, because he learned so much that was basically wrong. The Vikings are, in terms of roster, outside of the quarterback, that's a Super Bowl roster. That is a team that has, I think, is equal of a shot as a team like the Chiefs or Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. If J.J. McCarthy can be an average quarterback, that's a Super Bowl team. If he can manage the game and be athletic when it matters, that's a Super Bowl team. And that's one of the better defensive coordinators, and probably I would argue one of the best head coaches in the NFL. And you almost had it. Like, you lost the game, which that's a bummer. Ben Johnson made a lot of, I think, conservative decisions that you expect all. It's like the football hive mind, where teams abandon the run when they shouldn't. They get real weird and conservative with in the second half with how they play defense, or how they manage kicking field goals versus going for it. And his play calling was not great, which is the run support thing. But again, it's his first game. I still think what's there is going to be good. I think he will be a top 10 coach in the NFL before, the end of his second year, probably. With Caleb, there was a lot of bad, but there was also a lot of good. I watched a lot of the Sunday slate, and obviously Thursday and Friday, particularly Drake May. Drake May was made way worse decisions. Obviously, is far less talented. He's throwing the ball better, deeper, but outside of that, I would don't think he showed a lot that he's going to be anything. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is going to be the best quarterback for that class. I think, unless we see something drastic, like him fall tremendously, if he doesn't develop all this year, maybe that could change. But he's going to be the best quarterback in the class. Bo Nix, although again more accurate than Caleb, made a lot of throws that were not all like him last year. Playing quarterback is hard in the NFL. All these guys are going into year two. It's not going to be as divided it's not going to be spread out in terms of their talent as it was last year. I think it's all going to kind of start to level off, with the exception maybe being Jaden Daniels just being that much better than everyone else. Caleb, I think, still has the talent to be up there with Daniels, but I just, at this point, in terms of being able to throw the ball deep, unless he does change things, I don't think, at best, he'll probably be 1B. And as a Bears fan, that's great. If he is just a step below him, you wish in hindsight you would have picked him or done differently. But who knows, with Matt Eberflus being there first year, if he wouldn't have destroyed Daniels like he kind of destroyed Caleb. Caleb can make the out of the pocket, oh my god, that guy's got a cannon, how did he do that throws. He might be already a top 5 in the NFL top 10 maybe, of somebody who is just insanely accurate when improvising and being able to make those, it's like Patrick Mahomes-esque throws. A buddy of mine described him as the skeleton of Patrick Mahomes, has the raw potential of him, but it's not there and it may not happen. But when Caleb in the preseason under Ben Johnson, you saw him throw at the top of his drops, or keep his feet set, drive on his throws, they were accurate. The deep ones, the medium ones, the short ones, they were accurate. This game, outside of probably the first quarter and a half, a lot of his throws were almost like his feet were set shoulder width apart, like he was golfing or swinging a baseball bat. It was clear that's a lie. And from last year too, a lot of them sail because he's leaning back. His feet are not to where he's driving, so the ball has the trajectory that it needs to drop. It is leaning back. Your feet aren't set. You're going to sail every ball thrown that way, and you're more likely going to start turning it over in the NFL. That was a huge problem. Part of that, it's on him reverting back to that. I think he gets in his own head when he gets out of rhythm, that he thinks that he thinks too much, or His throw time was still longer than Justin Fields. I don't think his processing time is that long. I still think, in a weird way, he's seeing ghost, like Sam Darnold said when he was a younger QB. There is a lot of trauma still in those fundamentals, and I think if it's his fundamentals are that bad by week 8, that's when we start to worry. I'm not saying he needs to be great by week 8. I'm not saying he needs to even be good by week 8. But if his fundamentals are that bad by week 8, then we need to worry. That's when I don't even want to go through it again, but is this the guy stuff needs to actually start being talked about. As of now, week 1 in the NFL is always weird. Although I think this year it was a little less weird than it has been in the past. And we shouldn't overreact. We need an actual sample size before we start even worrying. And that's where maybe it's just because social media pushes out things that piss you off. But I'm so sick of everybody who wants to get some attention saying crap like that. Like, pretty much Colin Cowherd, everybody on ESPN, whatever the guy is that sometimes sits in for Cowherd, I don't know who it is, but he's just a hot take artist. A lot of those armchair quarterbacks, Dan Orlovsky, probably Chris Sims, although I've gone on my way to make sure nothing he ever says pops into my feed. It's just relax. Let it, or bring the same level of scrutiny to Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy. That first half was bad. It was very clear that was a kid's first NFL game in that first half, and he changed it the second half, and good on him. But he got through under 200 yards and got Offensive Player of the Month. It feels like everything is actively trying to shit on us. And there's not a lot of places where we could talk about it without have to be a slamming the panic button. Or was it CHGO? Yeah, they used to be good, or at least a nice alternative to a lot of the media for it. And it's absolute garbage now. It's absolute. I mean, they fired a couple people. They have the one guy who's the look, it should be Agent the whole time guy, bringing on that hack who wrote the article. Adam Hogue, man, seriously, he used to be a appointment radio when he was doing stuff on the Score, and he might still, because I really thought his combination of just being really good at explaining football and his knowledge of it was something that a lot of people didn't have that talked about, especially Chicago sports consistently. At this point, I could go back and just listen to Jim Miller talk about how, what's the long neck guy that played for them? Oh, I'm blanking on him. Mike Glennon. How Mike Glennon deserved to start and needed a chance. Where are the voices? The Score, and this is just for us, people who are Chicago fans, I guess, used to be a great kind of alternative to a lot of that. It was, still a little bit hot takey, but there was a lot of smart football discussion mixed into it, and a lot of nuance discussion. And yeah, there was the little showmanship stuff, but I didn't feel I could type in angry Bears radio guy into an AI program and get that slop. That's because that's what it's starting to feel like. I don't necessarily dislike Marshall Harris, but we get it. You're the smartest guy in the room, and no one else is allowed to talk. It's frustrating. And I love the afternoon show. I've been a big fan of Spiegel and Holmes forever. I don't know. This feels like this season that the intellectual teeth is sometimes there, but not there as much. And I miss that. I miss the rational thought providerness of it. But I still think if you're going to listen to Chicago Bears focused football talk. That's probably the best show you're going to need to listen to as of now. But that's kind of why I'm doing this too. An alternative to what else is out there. More of a, I guess, yeah, this is a podcast, but it's feels a little vloggy. And I need to get an actual decent camera at some point. But I want to be able to talk about it without it being you have to pick a side. I want to be at Team Caleb or oh god, everything's falling apart team. I don't want it to have to be everyone in the organization is stupid, Ben Johnson's the worst, or he's the best. I want to be able to be in what is more of the truth, at least right now, in the middle, the gray, the part where all these thoughts overlap and make a more cohesive thought. If we can do that, and I hope we can. I hope this gets some feedback. I hope Bears fans find this and want to have that discussion. Want to any questions, comments about the team, I would love to cover. I had 1,000 thoughts, and I've already been going for, God, I don't even know how long at this point, but 16 minutes. And I feel like I could go probably another 6 hours. But I want this to be the waters we test. I want this to be the beta version of the Chicago Bears discussion on Damage Boost. And like I said, the episodes will probably be labeled as something like Chicago Bears Necessities or Bears something. I don't know, something. I'll talk to somebody smarter than me and think of a name and a way to present it. But it will be under the Damage Boost feed. So other things will come in. I will plan on doing a episode by episode breakdown of the Halo TV show. And maybe Twisted Metal, although I might do that in like 2 or 3 episode chunks, at least for the first season. As much as I loved it, it doesn't need to be a episode per or a podcast per episode. And Fallout, when it comes out here in the next couple months, all the gaming stuff will still be in there, and maybe some movies here and there, as long as they don't take away from Binge Buddies or something like that. I also kind of wanted to talk about the King of the Hill revival at some point, because that probably won't be covered by Binge Buddies, which is our sibling podcast on After the Hype, and that they don't want to do, because they would do the entire run of King of the Hill, which is a lot, so that might be something I can sink my teeth into later. But for now, and the only episodes I do have planned are going to be post-game Bears reactions. This is a few days late. It was a Monday night game, and then I work a couple jobs, so I got to it when I could get to it. Hopefully you got something out of this, and I see you in the next one. Go Bears.